Hey everybody, this is Hal from We Got This with Mark and Hal. This is the second of our 2 Max Fun Drive episodes. We're going to tell you all about the drive. This is the most special time of year where we have special gifts and bonus content and stretch goals specific to our show for people who become members at Max Fun, set up a monthly recurring contribution, and check the box for We Got This to make sure that we benefit directly from your contribution. We can't tell you how much it means to us. There are so many members of the podcast listening community, the people of the world as we like to call them, who are nice enough to throw some of their support our way. And we're doing all sorts of fun stuff. You still have until Friday, the 29th of March to set up your recurring donation. So get it going, people. Go to MaximumFun.org/donate. We'll tell you all about that later in the show. But please enjoy also this very special episode of We Got This with Mark and Hal. Hello, I'm Hal Lublin.
And I'm Mark Gagliardi.
Since the dawn of humanity, one issue has gone unsettled. With the fate of the world in the balance, we're here to settle once and for all.
Best West Wing character.
That's right. Don't worry, everyone. We got this.
Podcast should have a theme song. Podcast should not have a theme song. Yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. They sound good. Yeah, but people are just going to skip past it. You know what? You're right. We got this.
Well, here we are.
Finally, Hal. Finally.
I'm so excited because Justin has a new recording setup with all these sound buttons.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
I don't know what
it comes with pre-programmed intro and outro music, so I'm just going to... Are we recording? Is this the show?
Yeah, we're already going. Should we introduce our two guests?
No, don't introduce yet, Mark, because I'm going to set you up. This board, Rodecaster Pro, comes pre-programmed with intro and outro song. An intro and outro song that I'm assuming is free reign because... Hold on. Whenever you're ready.
It's We Got This with Mark and Hal.
Dishing out decisions every week. So happy to have you with us. The weather is bad, but the podcasting is good.
We're going to get to traffic in just a little while. But first, we have 2 very special guests with us who want to talk about a television show.
That's right. They're podcasters in their own right. You might know them from the McElroy family. You heard of these people? The McElroys?
Yeah, the McElroy family. Who hasn't heard of the McElroy family?
They're great. We got 2 of them right here. We got Justin McElroy and Dr. Sydnee McElroy. How both of you doing today?
We're fine.
We're good.
Don't act like you are not responsible
Our
for
agent
that.
booked us on this show. They said it was just a chill discussion. Now, I can pot this all the way down, but don't get it twisted. It's still there. It just keep on going.
How long of a track is that?
There's no way that I know of to shut it off.
It's designed for podcasting, so that track goes as long as a podcast goes, which we all know can be like 3 hours.
We're an hour 4 of my Art Bell tribute podcast.
Oh, just talking about aliens.
Just talking about it. They're everywhere. I swear they took my wife.
I will tell you my favorite Art Bell thing that I was like, oh man, I would love it if that were actually true was someone claimed that the government had figured out how to project gravity fields and with variable sizes, meaning that you would no longer need gas for your car. You would just flip on the gravity field and you would fall to wherever you were going.
Oh, excellent.
Hey.
Right? It's not bad. And you can control how fast you're falling. Keep it under the fall limit.
Yeah. You know how fast you're dropping there, sir? You mind dropping down the straight line while you recite the alphabet backwards?
I can't even do that when I'm sober. Oh, you got me in your trick.
You're going to sky jail. Justin and Sydnee, we're
thank you for being here.
Thank you for coming back.
Our pleasure.
You wanted to talk about West Wing. Are you both
we did.
huge? Talk to me about how long you've been watching and how you got into it and how big fans you are.
How did we get into it? It was definitely after we watched it when we were living at the Grace, so it would have been like 10 years ago, probably.
I mean, it was after the show was
completely
over.
off, like completely over. Didn't watch it live at all.
No.
We were in college having fun, and then we got old, and the West Wing was there waiting for us.
Mm-hmm.
I was the same way. I just binge watched The West Wing about a year and a half ago. And by binge watched the entire series of The West Wing, I mean seasons 1 through 5.
Thank you. Yes. It is. I will say that Sydney has rewatched it more times than I have. I've watched it the one time through and then rewatched some episodes multiple times. It is now almost what was once aspirational and sort of like a fantasy to watch has now become almost too sad to watch.
I know. It's like, oh, look how well this dysfunctional machine runs.
Yeah. It is possible.
Yeah, you remember that episode of The West Wing where where the entire administration got indicted?
Right, remember? It was great.
I've watched it 3 times through now. I watched
No kidding. Wow.
the entire series. The first time we watched it together, and then after the birth of each of our children, just when I was on maternity leave and just like on the couch, essentially breastfeeding all day long, just turned on
Why
West
not
Wing.
just watch The West Wing over and over and over
The
again?
entire thing. And I will say, our oldest daughter, Charlie, has a great vocabulary. She's very verbal. She loves to talk while strolling in hallways.
That's when her vocabulary is at its best. When you just hand her folders in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
She's sort of latently sexist, but
She has a mushrooms habit, but it's fine.
Yeah,
She does some of her
it's
best
fine.
work that way.
oh my
God.
way too many Gilbert and Sullivan references for my taste.
Wait, I want to go back one. Who had a mushroom habit? Also, is there a thing
That was like a whole story of how he wrote. I don't know if he wrote like several episodes.
mushrooms
or he wrote
don't seem like a habit drug.
on shrooms.
That's like being addicted to roller coasters. Yeah, but you can't always go to roller coasters.
You get addicted to the high, man.
I get addicted to the fall.
I had a manager at Babbage's who I once found standing against a wall with his eyes closed. And I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm imagining I'm on King Cobra at Kings Island." I quit soon after.
Sure. Was he also on mushrooms at the time?
He was on mushrooms all the time.
Oh my God.
My favorite part of Babbage's as a kid, for those of you out there who are listening who are too young, Babbage's was an electronics and video game store.
Mm-hmm.
Like you go get your Oregon Trail, your Gold Rush, your King's Quest 5. You get it all there. But
You are really setting the era of when Babbage's was a thing.
Right.
You go and get your original Carmen Sandiego for the Apple II GS.
If you were a crafty kid, you would sneak a look at the Leisure Suit Larry box.
Oh, I love Leisure Suit Larry.
On the wall, and I don't know if this is everyone, but the one in the Willow Grove Mall had a Charles Babbage portrait with like a description. He created the first ever computer program. Like it was like a weird doll he had programmed to write.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really creepy, and to me, ultimately, that might have been what killed.
Can you buy that? Could you buy that doll in the store? To be like, let me get that creepy Babbage talking doll.
You had Teddy Ruxpin. You didn't need a doll where you could see the back of it exposed.
My sister had a Teddy Ruxpin, and we used to put NWA albums because you could swap out. You could put any cassette you wanted in there.
Sure.
I don't know how you all frame these discussions that are like this in this way, but I had a suggestion.
Okay,
please.
That we could maybe have, you know how you have a sort of a title bout, and then you have some undercard.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Bouts.
Mm-hmm. We've never done
feel
title
like
bouts
maybe
and undercards.
before we would decide on sort of like there's like basically 8 to 10 characters that would be on like top stringer contention that what I was talking about with Sid is there's so many characters on the show that would be the best character on another TV show that are on 4 episodes of The West Wing. That were they transplanted to another show, they would be the best character on it. And I feel like that they're not really going to hang with characters that get 6 to 7 seasons of development, but still are worth.
They're featured players.
Featured players.
Sure.
I love that idea. And I think there's a lot of them. I mean, and it was like every great actor wanted to be on that show. Yeah. So they got so many great performers on there. I mean, the president's secretary, Lily Tomlin, immediately jumped into mind.
She was excellent. She had a lot.
Debbie Fitterer.
Yeah, she had a lot. Mine, I have several that I am very crazy about. I mean, like, I don't know if you all were thinking Lord John Malbury for like actual contention, but he is one of the.
He's so fun.
He's so fun.
Yes,
he's
so
fun. Every time he shows up, he was always fun on that show.
I love characters, and it's like probably the easiest character to write, I would guess, is like drunken buffoons that are secretly the smartest person in any room they're in. Like,
Right.
it's such an intoxicating fantasy that is not like in any way grounded in reality. I think.
Yeah.
And also is probably just Sorkin going, hey, who's going to be on something and smart? I'm going to write a bunch of those guys.
Right, exactly. Where are my smart substance addicts at?
Well, it's because of that mushroom dependency. He had to write characters. See, it's not that bad. They're the smartest people in the room. Now, where's my mushroom?
You want some?
One mushroom.
This episode of We Got This brought to you by mushrooms. Are you trying to get people to send you mushrooms?
I don't know. I'm not against it. I won't use them, but maybe I could just have them somewhere.
Who are some of your honorable mention for? Or do you want to make actual bouts out of these? Like have them duke it out, or do we just want to talk about characters we love for a little while and then get into
to the great second stringers?
Could we give? I assume we're considering Danny Concannon as a second stringer.
I think that's fair.
Which one's Danny?
Yeah.
I loved him.
He was so great. He's like Timothy Busfield is one of these actors in general who's great in everything he does.
Yeah.
Yes.
But is never so flat. Even in like something like Field of Dreams, just as an actor, he's so good and he grounds this bizarre movie about baseball playing ghosts. And,
incredibly watchable too. I mean, like anytime the guy's on screen, you just want to see what he's doing and making a lot of like really, especially in his relationship with CJ, making a lot of really interesting, vulnerable choices. Yeah. Like that set, like not trying to be the coolest guy in the room, consciously like more vulnerable choices that I think are really cool.
He's a really good voice for the press too, because there's so many moments where you want him to bend to the will of CJ and the administration and just be nice, be the nice guy. And he doesn't because it's not his job.
And he says flat out, that's, I have to, if he finds something, he's like, look, I have to run with this.
Yeah.
He's great with that. I think he is a perfect match for CJ Craig.
Yeah.
I think that, he's excellent.
Yeah. He would be my main, he's the guy I think of that's sort of an unsung hero of that cast, and he's in it a lot more than you think he is.
Yeah. He's in it. He's in it a fair amount. And I always get excited when he would come in.
Yeah. How do you all feel about Bruno Gianelli?
Is that,
that is the political operative.
Yeah, that's
brought on for the campaign.
Ron Silver.
Ron Silver.
Yes.
Okay, this is interesting. Bruno Gianelli he was a Democrat operative that helped get Bartlett elected, and very amoral, I would say. Like, he just cared about winning. And then later seasons, he started working for the Republican Party, which is interesting because Ron Silver did the same thing for George W. Bush.
Yeah.
Campaigned for him, even though he was a liberal.
To be fair, it was for Alan Alda. Who wouldn't drop everything, party included, to work for
improv legend Alan Alda. Yeah, I get it. There's something here's what bothers me about that character, and it has nothing to do with that character, and it may not even have anything to do with Ron Silver, but every time I hear his voice on that show, I want to either use nasal spray or blow my nose.
It's like a cigarette could talk. It's amazing.
Like his voice is just made of little phonations and glottal stops. Just over and it's like, Ron, blow your nose. Get some nasal spray. Don't come into work sick. He sounds like he has a cold in every episode of that show.
He's the villain in Time Cop. And in that movie, I feel like every scene he's in, he's eating peanuts while he's performing. And outside of that, he always sounds like he's eating peanuts, even when he's not eating peanuts.
Somehow he has that voice that always sounds like it has peanuts.
When he's eating the peanut, it's like 10 times.
It's like, oh God, I can't listen to him talk. He could come on screen and have Aaron Sorkin's greatest monologue, and my only thought the whole time will just be, I can't do it. I can't listen to him. But he's a fun character.
I will ask you now. I will ask you all to choose. The only bout that I will ask you to choose, you all to select for this round is Lionel Tribby, John Larroquette versus Oliver Babish, Oliver Platt.
It's such a great matchup. They're both basically the same function.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Basically,
and very
yes.
similar characters.
They're both the attorney, the counsel for the
White House
Bartletts.
counsel. Yeah. Fourth and fifth.
Yeah. And
You don't see 1 through 3.
That's true. And so they must have really churned through them because we pick up like a year into the presidency. I will say Oliver Babish has one of my favorite West Wing lines is he asked Abby Bartlett after Abby Bartlett is hurt in a biking accident. Asked Abby Bartlett what happened to her ankle, and she said it was in all the papers. I'm sure you read about it. And Oliver Babish says, "I only read Le Monde. Was it in Le Monde?" And she says, "I don't know. I don't read Le Monde." He said, pity. So it was only God.
Oh, it's so gloriously arrogant.
Yeah.
But then Lionel Tribby, in his first scene on the show, he comes charging in with a cricket bat.
I mean, guy knows how to make an entrance.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Larroquette fan, so
Yeah, he's so
Yes.
good.
so
Yeah.
I will add that caveat.
But that brings up a larger point. And as we go through this and get to some of the more heavyweight bouts, I think it's almost impossible, especially with the West Wing for how long it's like now it's just part of the public consciousness for so long. You can't it's hard to separate the character from the actor in any meaningful way.
Yeah, a lot of times in this.
So you love both, I love both of those actors so much.
Well, maybe that'll become a criteria that when we get to those is, that'll be one of the factors that we factor in is, the marriage of that actor and that performance. Cause I can't look at Allison Janney and not think of the Jackal.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I have to give credit to your all's researcher. I want to read out 2 listings here. Ed. And the description is White House staffer usually seen with Larry. And then Larry, White House staffer usually seen with Ed.
I love Ed and
they
Larry.
weren't going to win. They had to know they weren't going to hang. They still put him in there. That's dutiful.
I'll tell you
there.
this.
I love that.
I'll tell you this. What I love about those guys. It's those guys. I guarantee you are just a couple of journeyman actor day players who lived in LA who got like, hey, you want to do a line on the West Wing? And they were like, yeah, sure. And then they're like, oh, we like these guys. Why don't we just keep bringing them back? And you only ever learn their first names. There's always something going on with them off to the side. They're like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern for the show.
Yes. Yes.
And I think they're really fun. Can I throw out a character that I absolutely love? And considering my political leanings, probably shouldn't, but I think Emily Proctor as Ainsley Hayes she came on to the series. Her first episode is one of the best introductions of a character I have ever seen. From beginning by crushing Sam in a debate on Capitol Beat and then ending the episode with this epic monologue, telling her Republican friends to not be so hard on this administration because now I'm their lawyer. That one episode to me. And then she just gets crapped on for 2 seasons when they put her in the basement. And like, it's like she just sort of became that character that it was fun to be like, oh, what else can they do to this poor character? I loved her entrance.
It's really cool. What I liked about Ainsley Hayes that I thought was really interesting is that it brings how there's probably a name for this, but you know how in usually like fantasy or sci-fi, there's going to be a character that doesn't know anything about what's going on. So you can explain the world to that one character.
Sure.
I feel like Ainsley Hayes provided a nice like refresh of that, like to be able to see the White House through fresh eyes, even though you're fairly well into the series at that point.
She's the Winston Zedmore of the series.
There you go. What I don't like about Ainsley Hayes is it gave Aaron Sorkin way too many opportunities to write scenes that are basically like, yeah, well, she can be pretty too. Well, sorry, guy. Yeah. Just because she's pretty doesn't mean she's smart. Or doesn't mean she's not smart, rather. There's like a lot of hay made of Ainsley's appearance.
And there's that I have to say that as much as, to be fair, she did fit into kind of that, like in my own head, that liberal fantasy that at heart, all the Republicans, if they just spent enough time with these wonderful people, would want to be part of this.
Right. It's
see the world
she
the way
is
they
so
do.
much. You know what maybe for me, it's that I have a very conservative family and I go, oh, I wish I could have these discussions with my family.
Right.
Where we get our point across in our debate in 2 very well quippy fashioned sentences each and then go on about our day. as opposed to slugging it out over Thanksgiving dinner.
Well, and it also, it speaks to that ideal of she's won over by the people and seeing the machine in action. So it's not as much that her politics convert as it is like, I believe that you're working in good faith. So I want to support the machine of democracy, even if I don't agree with your ultimate ends.
Right. That's
true.
You want it to be, you want that to be true. This whole show is such a great fantasy of like, oh God, if only.
But I will say, to Justin's point, there are moments, and I mean, I'm just going to lay this out there. I think this critique of Sorkin is in no way new or original, but sometimes when he writes women, I don't know that I completely understand them as like a woman that I identify with. Not that all women are like myself.
Right.
But I think there are moments where she's like, I like when the guys tell me how hot I am at work. That I'm like, do you? That's okay. Well,
did Aaron tell you to say that?
I know, like, sure, but that's not generally what I would say at work, but okay.
That doesn't feel like a win.
No.
I'll
throw another one into the mix. Another, I think, well-crafted, female character. And, Doc, you can answer this more extensively, I'm sure. Is Joey Lucas, Marlee Matlin.
Yes.
I think that's another just one of the unsung characters. I can't speak as a woman for the way Sorkin writes women. But I really always loved Joey Lucas on the show, The Pollster.
Yes. I agree, because I think that there's she knows, she's very certain about her abilities and her skills, and she has fun. She jokes around. She's like part of the gang at times, but at the same time, there's not that kind of like bending to the will of the rest of it's like she holds her own.
Right. Because she's not really part of the administration. She does her thing. She comes in, gets her job done. Says, look, I'm a Hessian in this. I'm a hired gun.
I've always wondered if the parallelism was intentional with one of the show's only deaf characters, their job being to listen to people. I always wondered if that was intentional or unintentional. I don't want to give anybody more credit than they deserve, of course, ever.
Fair enough.
Are you all putting Will Bailey, Josh Malina, into real contention, or would he fit into this sort of undercard round?
I mean, look, in fairness, he is an old friend of ours.
Yes, of course. But also, he'll slap the script out of your hand backstage. So
he is famously the West Wing's greatest prankster. And any show he works on. Thrilling Adventure Hours continued greatest prankster.
But he's also has the advantage of being someone who worked with Aaron Sorkin for years.
Sure, with A Few Good Men before that.
Sports
Farnsworth.
Night.
Did he do Farnsworth Invention?
I don't know. We'll have to text him. But he understands the rhythm. All these actors do to a certain extent. It takes something specific to, I don't know if it's pull off Sorkin dialogue or just be able to rattle it off in what feels like a natural way. And
I'm actually more impressed
believable
by his ability to elevate the material of seasons 5 through 7. I mean, he brings a humanity to a section of the show where, it's wild. It is a really to rewatch. And I know that, have you never watched, Mark, or did you just like kind of bail?
I just kind of slowly bailed. Like I still could watch some of 5 to 7 here and there. I've not sat down and watched them in their entirety.
I think it picks back up in 7. I think
maybe because that's what it was 6. I started 6 and I was like, oh, I can so tell a vast difference.
5 is brutal. I mean, like 5 is the first season without Sorkin, and it's really interesting because obviously he didn't write all of it, but to not have him sort of steering the ship there it is wild the extent to which you feel just like, oh, these characters that's not what they would do.
Right.
I mean, they would
because you've been with them for 5 seasons.
Right.
But now
what they would do.
He had a writing staff, but didn't Sorkin pretty much write every episode for the seasons he was there?
I think he was at least in the room, and I think that's probably the main thing. But Josh Malina is great. I think he's a wonderful actor.
Yeah, I would put him in the like regular character myself.
At least in season 5, when he first comes in, you've got a bunch of snark fest going on for 5, a wonderful, like, scenery chewing, glorious snark fest going on for 5 seasons. And then here comes the world's most earnest character.
Yeah.
Right.
And that is a wonderful, refreshing thing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
That's consistent with his character. That doesn't, I feel like it doesn't go away. He is earnestly just trying to do the right thing, even when he's like backing the guy you don't want to run for president. He's just trying to do the right thing.
I am certain there are people readying furious tweets because we did not talk about their favorite secondary, even tertiary characters. Fitz Wallace, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, he is a fantastic sort of grounding presence. And again, I think maybe that fantasy of like, I bet military leaders are all like this, just like fun, jovial.
Right.
Yeah. They can hang.
They can hang. They can all hang. Shoulders, just like chill cats. We all want to think.
Is this the moment where you want me to make my 30-second pitch for Mandy?
Sure. Talk about Mandy.
Who is Mandy?
Let's do it.
Which one's Mandy?
Exactly.
I can't, I sat there trying to come up with like, how can I come into this and pretend to be completely earnest and try to pretend like Mandy is my favorite character.
Which one was Mandy?
She was in season 1.
Is this Moira Kelly?
Yes.
Okay.
And then,
right.
Yeah. And then they found the better version with Mary Louise Parker.
And then she vanished, never to be heard from again. With no mention. The only thing I will say is she enters her first scene. She's driving recklessly, of which I do not approve. But she is listening to Biff Naked, of which I do approve. So,
and that's another great entrance of a character. Like all these characters get epic. Hers being driving up on the curb and verbally assaulting a member of Congress. Is it?
Yes.
It's so,
and then the police officer.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
All right. I want to give one. Now that I'm looking at this list, I have so many shout outs to characters, that I just want to talk about because I think they're great. I mentioned, Lily Tomlin as Debbie Fitterer because of her, great sass mouth, and, going toe to toe with, I just love that ending of her episode where she's going to lose her job, where she's not going to get the job. And, it's because I remember this a lot. It's because you called him President so-and-so. You showed respect for the office. And now I'm like, I don't want to say president, but I keep thinking of that scene and I keep thinking of Debbie Fitterer. And I'm like, I respect the office. But aside from her, I would, Mrs. Landingham.
Oh,
I mean,
what a wonderful character.
Brilliant
presence.
Beautiful presence on the show. A great character.
Hey, listen, y'all, as long as we're having fun here on a podcast, let's give a huge shout out to Ted McGinley.
Yes.
Can't believe he's on West Wing, but he is the host of Capitol Beat.
The host of Capitol Beat.
So not gonna learn his character's name, but Ted McGinley is on West Wing.
Yeah. Turns out. Oh my God. There's so many people on here that I forgot. There's so many characters looking at this. I'm like, oh yeah, this might have to be another one where
Mark, just people who we've not even mentioned, like just actors, right? Sam Robards, Stephen Root,
Danica
Patricia
McKellar.
Richardson, like the bench on this show.
You didn't even mention Chandler.
Yeah.
Chandler's on here.
Chandler's on there.
Janine Garofalo's on there for a while. Like, it's what? Clark Gregg's up in the mix.
Yeah.
That's right.
Gerald McCraney and David Graff, both
Hal
military.
freaking Holbrook.
Yeah.
That time that Mark Twain showed up and talked to Jeb Bartlett.
Oh, Lord. I told a story, Justin, when I first was like, I know I'm going to be an actor, I became obsessed with the idea of seeing Hal Holbrook as Mark Twain. Like, I thought, like, this is acting. He's in, like, I love Mark Twain, and he's gonna, like, Mark Twain's gonna come alive. And then I saw it. My dad took me to see it. I was so excited. And like 15 minutes in, I was like, do we have to stay for this whole thing? Can we leave? Because I realized what I really wanted to see was
Mark
Twain come back to life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's dead. He's gone. That was when I learned.
You didn't want to see
Mario's
Dixie
dead.
Carter's husband pretend to be Colonel Sanders?
It's just like him, like thoughtfully smoking a cigar for 2 hours.
Yeah. There's a new one.
It's Val Kilmer, right?
Citizen Twain, which,
What?
Citizen Twain, the movie just came out. Cinema Twain. He did a filmed version of his play, and he's taking it on tour. I was so bummed. It was playing at the theater across from where I'm doing a show right now. And, I missed the night that Val Kilmer was there doing it.
Oh,
So bummed.
sorry, buddy.
Can I mention one more person just because this actor has made a career out of doing one thing really well? Shout out to Glenn Morshower, who played Mike Chrysler, or sometimes they called him Jack, who was a Secret Service agent. If you don't know who Glenn Morshower is, he kind of has this voice and he talks like this and he's tall and kind of a balding ginger. Hal's looking up a picture of him right now. He has played either a Secret Service agent or top military brass or an FBI agent or something to, I think, every fictional president of the last 20 years.
Oh yeah, this guy. He looks like a sitcom dad too.
He looks like a sitcom dad, but he has worked for every fictional president outside the West Wing and within. It's insane. Shout out to Glenn Morshower.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Why don't we do that? Are there any other side characters we need to mention? Because if not,
Before we get to this page one.
because I was going to say
I think we can go to page one. I'm
Yeah.
good for page one
All
now.
right, so let's take
Yes.
a brief break here.
We'll figure out what our
Justin, will
criteria
you bring up
are.
a music bed for me while I throw it to break?
Sure.
Thanks.
Go ahead.
Hey guys, hey, we're gonna take a break. Hey, what's the deal with breaks? We're gonna take a break, and then we'll be back. You ever take a break?
Which Hanna-Barbera character was that?
That's Snagglepuss when he was sick.
We'll be right back.
Da, 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 da. It's Max Fun Drive time. You know it's Max Fun Drive time. Yes.
Huzzah.
Huzzah and hurrah and hazoinks to all of you.
Hal Hazoinks isn't a thing.
It is now.
Great.
We made it one.
Yay!
That's what Max Fun Drive is about. Me making up words. Just kidding. This is a very special time of year. It's the time that all of the hosts and everybody involved in Max Fun are so excited about, and the members of the Max Fun community as well. If you are not aware, Maximum Fun is 100% listener supported as a network, and the shows are listener supported as well. This is the time of year, this 2-week period, is the time when we ask you to pledge your support. It only happens once a year, so if you're hearing this and you are within the allotted time for Max Fun Drive, congratulations, you made it. We put out some of our best shows of the year, our really cool guests. For us, it's topics that we think are really interesting, and we really try to bring it even more than usual. And we offer a bunch of thank you gifts that we're going to talk about later on in this show. But there are all sorts of reasons to contribute. It's really a celebration of all things Max Fun, and we got this. And this is the time of year to sign on as a member. I mean, you can do it anytime, but if you want all the gifts and fun stuff that comes along with it, Max Fun Drive is the time and the place to be. So become a member now, or if you're already a member, upgrade your membership. And those people who are already members,
Thank you.
yes, thank you so much.
Thank you to those of you who are already members. And if you're hearing this and you're thinking, well, being a member of the Max Fun family sounds so fun. How do I become a member of the Max Fun family? Here's what you do. It is not difficult at all.
No.
You just go to MaximumFun.org/donate.
Yes.
MaximumFun.org/donate. And it's all right there for you. It's super easy. You just select the membership level that's right for you, whether it's $5 a month, $10 a month, $20, $30, $35, whatever you want to spend. And then you provide your credit card information, some basic info. You've been to a website before. You know how this works.
You know the web.
And most importantly, you check off the boxes of the Maximum Fun shows that you listen to. In this case, that show would be We Got This with Mark and Hal.
Yes.
That way, the money that you support as a member of Maximum Fun will go directly to our show and to help us out in producing and creating something that the people of the world enjoy.
That's right. And that is the only way to make sure we directly benefit from your contribution is you have to check off our show as one of the ones that you listen to. When you back a show you love. And I've seen this in the people who've become members in Drives of the Past. This is our, I think, 4th Max Fun Drive.
Yeah.
It's amazing to think that we get to do this for a 4th year. But those people, they feel an ownership and a pride that comes from knowing every time they hear a show and it makes them smile, it makes them laugh, that they were able to give back to us. And we just appreciate it so much. And we love the community of We Got This. The people of the world are everything. In a world of fierce and contentious debate, we've created a space where it's safe for people to disagree, because the one thing that we all agree on is that we are human beings who should respect one another. So we just argue about the dumb stuff.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't call it the dumb stuff, Hal. I mean, Star Wars versus Star Trek is a very, very important topic.
That's true. That's the example each of us comes up with every time?
Well, because it's one of my favorite episodes.
It is a pretty great episode.
It's no 2019 Max Fun Pledge Drive episode.
No, of course not, but it is an outstanding episode. That is true. I still remember us recording that. And then a couple years later, we recorded there, and I had the flu and didn't find out about it till later.
And then everyone else had the flu and didn't find out about it until roughly 2 days after.
I didn't get anybody sick, Mark.
No,
Did you get sick
you
from that?
didn't. I got sick from something, but I think it was clams. So look, thank you to our members, and I really hope that you will consider joining, if you haven't, the Max Fun family.
Yes.
And becoming a member of Max Fun. You'll feel awesome every time you listen to your shows, knowing that you have had a part in making those shows happen. So do it. Do it right now. Don't wait. Do it while you're thinking about it. Jump online, MaximumFun.org/donate, and make your contributions now. It's super easy. You can just hit pause. It'll only take a few seconds.
Yes.
And then come back and enjoy the rest of the episode.
Yes, and we have a goal, by the way, very quickly. We're trying to reach 25,000 new and upgrading members this drive. That is across the network.
25,000?
It's a lot of people, but I think we can do it. I know how powerful the Max Fun community is. I know how powerful the people of the world are. And I'm excited for us to contribute in a big way to the number of people who are new and upgrading members. So get on it. You're thinking about it now. You want to do it. Don't even delay. We will wait here for you. And after you do, we'll continue the show.
Ready, go.
Oh, we're back.
Not on page 1, Abby Bartlett.
Oh,
Also great.
You thought of it. You thought of another one that
Sorry.
we didn't mention.
I just wanted to squeeze one more in there.
Is she a main character?
Is she?
Yeah.
You think you put her with the main character?
Oh,
Great
yeah.
Stalker
Bias.
I mean, she's great.
think
She's
she's
Stalker
fantastic.
Channing. She's awesome.
Here's the main thing that my criteria for this, and the reason I think that all the characters we did are great. I don't think any of them grow necessarily.
Right.
With some rare examples. I don't think any of them necessarily grow. Will certainly, I don't know. And he's kind of straddling the fence.
Mhm.
Will certainly does grow, but, I think by and large the other ones don't necessarily grow and evolve and change over the course of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
That's,
think Abby Bartlett does?
I think she does. And
Yeah.
that was my point. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sydnee. I think Abby Bartlett does for sure, grow, over the course of the
I like that as an interesting, we'll talk about the flat characters in the first half and the round characters in the second half.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. Abby Bartlett. I mean, Abby Bartlett's a fantastic, character who I don't know if that's a good place to start or not.
Sure. We'll start with the Bartletts. We'll start with Abby.
There you go. We didn't really talk about Zoe, did we?
No.
I don't know. I
Does
guess
she
Zoe
change?
Does Zoe change?
I feel like that she has the potential too early on, and then she kind of vanishes after a while.
Well, that's not her fault.
Dating the well, okay.
Yeah, this show does tend to disappear people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor Zoe Bartlett.
Yeah. At a certain point, I mean, you introduce all these characters, and we have what I think is 40 pages. No,
Yeah.
it's it's literally 13 pages of research.
Are we putting Mary Louise Kelly into this
that is on here?
top mix or no? Does she not make
I think she would have a hard time hanging.
she's not going to hang, but is she fun.
She's really fun, really fun energy and counterpoint to, I think it is fun having a character that outflanks the main cast on the left,
Mm-hmm.
to a lot of things that I think that is a really cool, useful voice on the show to voice that stuff.
And it's good. It is a good, I'm assuming that is how things work. Really.
Yeah.
So I think it was useful for understanding that.
Sid, how close do you think Abby Bartlett mirrors, in the respects of where she's a physician on the show, or how closely does she, capture that experience, do you think?
I mean, I've never, given you secret medications and like, and like fraudulently.
Do you secretly have MS?
Misled the public and, lost my license. But aside from that, I will say one of the things I always liked is that when she starts practicing again after she loses her license and then she just starts volunteering at a free clinic, which she knows she should not be doing. Mm-hmm. Like, it's so bad politically. It is not the right move. And she does it anyway. And I always really liked that because I felt like I connect to that because I can be pretty arrogant sometimes.
Yeah.
And a lot of doctors are. And I liked that character was consistent. Like, you know what? That is what she would do. She'd say, forget this. I'm not going to sit around sitting on my hands, not doing any good. I have these skills. I have this knowledge. I'm going to go help people. And if, the people don't like it, if they don't like it politically, if all the whatever, if the administration, if the staff doesn't like it, they can bite me. I'm going to go do it. I think that's true.
Well, yeah. I always love the discussion that Abby has about John Wilkes Booth.
I don't remember that.
Can you talk about it all the time?
They're talking about providing, what was the reason for it? They're talking about providing care to somebody who you consider like an enemy or someone who's done something bad, a criminal of some sort. Mm-hmm. What do you do? And they were talking about John Wilkes Booth as an example that the doctor who set his leg that he broke running away, he was brought up on charges of treason. Mm-hmm. He was a traitor to his country. And she said, but that's the right thing to do as a doctor. You set the leg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The leg, yeah.
It's true.
I always love that.
Yeah. Abby Bartlett, a great, in this version of a presidency, a great behind closed doors moments. Mm-hmm. When most of what we're seeing is in an office, to have those moments of, here's who the Bartletts are. Here's these, two insanely smart, insanely accomplished people sparring with one another.
I think her presence also is so important for Bartlett's character as a counterpoint to.
So he doesn't seem godlike.
Yes, exactly, right?
Otherwise, he's unbelievable.
She's another one that disappears for long periods of time. And I have, when she is not there, you can feel her absence, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty notably.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, it's Stockard Channing. So
sure.
Yeah, she's great.
I mean, who else? Like to find the person to play against Martin Sheen.
Yeah, get Rizzo.
You get Rizzo.
That's what they said, I bet.
Yeah. Who's going to play against Martin Sheen? Get Rizzo. Let's talk about Martin Sheen. Let's talk about President Josiah Jed Bartlett.
Nice.
Bartlett for America.
What other show do you have where the lead? Can you all think of another show where the lead character does not enter until 5 minutes before the end of the pilot? What a move that is. What a powerful move that is, where 5 minutes before the episode's over, the president comes in quoting scripture. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so good. And the entire episode is spent, I mean, to a certain degree, it's not about him directly, but he looms large the whole time. So it builds this expectation of what you're going to get. And then he comes in and doesn't meet the expectation. He blows it out of the water.
Yeah. Now, is that problematic in any way that the character of Jed Bartlett, as you mentioned, Sid, like the godlike element of it? I mean, he's quoting scripture. He's speaking Latin. He's, everything. Does anybody really have the brain that Jed Bartlett has? Is he too
Nobel laureate in economics?
Yeah. Is he too perfect? I know that sounds weird,
but I think you could make that case. I would say that they do a good job, I think, as the show progresses, of undercutting that a little bit with some of his insecurities. I think as they get into the issues he had with his dad in the flashbacks,
right?
You start to get this sense that there are times where he just wants people to like him. And so he doesn't do the right thing necessarily. Not that he's a bad guy, but that he's torn between everybody just like me because I want my dad to like me so much and be the good guy that I need to be, even if people get mad at me. And I think you start to see that as time goes on. But in the beginning, I think it is problematic.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's like this.
I had to look it up because I want to get the name exactly right. There's a scene where he calls the Butterball hotline because he wants to figure out the right way to cook a turkey, and he's embarrassed, so he identifies himself as Joe Bethersonton, Fargo, North Dakota.
I mean, they really made a meal out of the president surprising normal people that the president is talking to them on that show.
Yeah. And it's almost better. I would rather see him presented as infallible and then break him down and see what's behind it. Cause that's sort of what any elected leader or public figure of any kind,
They start on the pedestal.
Yeah. I mean, now we're in an age where you get a little bit more of a 360 view from other people. You know, nobody comes out as like, here are all my flaws and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
This is from a time where the public figure showed up. You saw a perfect life. You saw like the Camelot of JFK and then, you know, allowing us to sort of back into the person that he is and have that revealed over time is a really interesting, like, growth.
Yeah.
It's especially cool because in later seasons, and I guess this will be about season 6, when he is, there's trouble in the space program and the president doesn't want to let the public know. The details of this are foggy because he's late.
Are you talking about the military spacecraft that
Yes.
Toby divulges the details of and then gets like
because his brother is
sent to prison?
His brother is on
his
it.
brother was his brother was an astronaut. His brother killed himself.
Yeah, and there is, and what's interesting about it is that unlike pretty much the entire rest of the show, you can get to the end of an episode and not know that the president was right. And in fact, like, might be wrong on it. Like, might just be sort of the antagonist of that particular beat.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's really talking about like growing him from a place of like where he's basically Aslan.
Yeah.
You know, in the Oval
Well,
Office.
and Toby is a good, I think as it moves on, Toby is a good person to do that, to pull that out, because Toby is such a, I mean, he, as sarcastic.
Toby Ziegler, communications director for the White House.
Yes, as played by Richard Schiff.
As much of a bummer as he can be, he's a true believer. He knows right
Absolutely.
and he knows wrong, and he wants Bartlett to do the right thing always. And there are times where he's the morality that Bartlett can't reach for because it's impossible politically, and the will of the people won't allow it. It's really interesting to see him try to pull him all the way to goodness, at least Toby Ziegler's version of goodness, and Bartlett can't get there.
If he's the angel on Bartlett's shoulder, do you think Leo McGarry is the devil? Or the one trying to pull
Leo
him
McGarry's
back
the
into
pragmatist.
he's more.
Yeah,
it's
I think
weird to
that's fair.
say devil and angel, but more like you should do the right thing all the time. And Leo's like, no, you have to run for re-election, and their optics, and let's realistically look at what happens.
Yes,
in so much as anybody can be a devil on this show.
Right, yeah.
Incidentally, Richard Schiff may be my favorite performance of the entire series.
He is absolutely brilliant on that show.
So great.
There's a thing that he does in one episode where Sam is lingering too long at his door of his office. And, because he has something that he has to, it may even be in the pilot when he's going to tell him about the girl. And it's the simplest move. Toby just goes back to working at his desk and then pauses. And then the only thing that moves is his eyes looking back up at Sam. And it's just, it is the most beautiful moment of, is there more? Like, it's so exquisitely executed. It's one of my favorite moments of the whole series. But yeah,
in a way, he may be Sid alluded to this, but he may be I don't know, the moral center of the show. He doesn't.
I would agree with that.
On that.
He's unflinching.
For someone who is presented as curmudgeonly, you know, he may be the one who is like most unwilling to bend, which is actually kind of a fascinating role for a communications director. You know what I mean? Because it's almost like he just is unwilling to not tell people the truth, almost.
Right.
Which is why he's so bad when he has to do the press briefing.
Yeah.
And the fact that that curmudgeonliness of him, it is interesting to think about this, somebody who is so idealistic just getting beaten down in Washington. Like, I would imagine that a guy that has gotten to that position, probably has been beaten down a lot if he's an ideological person, and it has made him dark and, seemingly cynical.
Yeah.
I want to ask you this. If you guys, would indulge me a bit, because this is an epic series, as we talk about these folks, we were talking about Jeb Bartlett and flaws and, Toby Ziegler and his, and all. I think everyone in this has, a Shakespearean fatal flaw. I'd be curious to, just as we go through them, see if we can find those. You know what I mean?
So you think
That's true. I think that for Bartlett, it's definitely those insecurities, that need for approval is 100% at the core of who he is. And I don't think he shakes it.
No.
Like, I don't think it's, and that's probably more interesting in a character, is that somebody who doesn't necessarily like overcome it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You rarely get that pat lesson at the end where it's like, and anyway, that's how I beat egomania. Well,
Aren't I great? Oh, dang.
Yeah. I did it. And now I have no flaws.
Yeah. And now I'm going to turn into pure light like Scarlett Johansson in that movie where drugs rupture in her gut. You know what I'm talking about?
What?
What do you
No.
wait? There's a
No, sir.
It's a
What movie?
you dreamed
Who is
it
it?
out.
no.
What
It's
is
real. I
How you
How
dreamed
did
it.
you dream this?
No, she's a
But-
drug.
Is there a sound effect for
And
this?
then there's a drug mule.
Let me see. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, give me a bed. Oh, no.
he's
Is that
dreaming.
The birds in my head.
Yeah.
Because
This is the crickets.
it's real. Oh, you guys
Did you
remember it,
ask-
right?
Those are crickets?
It's not a good
Those
sound
crickets.
effect.
Those are
Yeah, those are
Are you
not.
sure it's not somebody raising a bucket out of a well?
Yeah, and it's just Andy's sweater.
Yeah. I thought it was that movie, but it was just Andy's sweater over a bucket.
What would we say is Toby Ziegler's?
That movie is real. I just want to say that for the record.
Oh my God. What would we say is Toby Ziegler's Shakespearean fatal flaw?
His inflexibility.
Yeah,
It's almost like
gets in the way,
He's
right?
just too rigid.
Yeah.
but he has also one of my favorite episodes, which is the funeral for the veteran.
Yes.
Just a real great performance in that, and a real great character moment. Let's talk about, we mention him. If he's not the devil on the shoulder, he's definitely the pragmatist. Let's talk about the late John Spencer as the great Leo McGarry,
Oh, so good.
whose flaw is addiction,
Powerhouse
obviously.
performance.
Yeah.
I mean, a
Jesus.
perfect performance.
What a performance.
Yeah.
I mean, like, constantly just making, like, the best choice.
Yeah.
Like the most likable, watchable, pleasant acting choice.
And the subtlest choices.
Oh, yeah. The tweaks of the face, like the smallest, that guy's face, like the smallest smirk is 100 words in that guy's face. It's amazing.
Because he can say things, without a hint of it being a joke that are hopefully jokes. What was it? There was one of my favorites was the Republicans aren't the enemy, or it was the Republicans aren't the enemy. The Republicans are the opposition. Congress is the enemy. And he says it completely straight faced, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
He also has, you mentioned the alcoholism, but I think it is so, there's this is dumb. I feel dumb even saying it. There's this Dar Williams song called The Mercy of the Fallen. And it's about, the sort of empathy and kindness that people who have fallen really far are able to show. And I've always loved that about Leo, where I think his heart maybe extends farther than anybody else's, and that like sense of loyalty. I think because Bartlett was able to see past those flaws to, and I think that the loyalty to people who show him that, because I think on some level he doesn't think he deserves it because of some of the struggles he's had. Like,
I think that's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you see that so well in his, interactions with Josh, when Josh is clearly suffering from PTSD and he's the one who makes sure that he gets help and, sets him up with the therapist, and he tells him the whole story about the friend who's in the hole.
Yeah.
and what the friend does. And then at the end, as long as you got a job, as long as I got a job, you got a job. Like, it's just the best.
Yeah.
It's just, it's one of the greatest moments, I think, in the series.
And that storyline has such a great, I think, it has a great sort of, through line for Leo that I think is, look, man, nobody's a hero. You know what I mean? Or nobody's perfect. Like his nobody's perfect vibe extending out to all of the other characters in the form of empathy, I think is great.
Yeah, there's certainly these implications that we're all trying to get to the end of the day and hopefully have more W's than L's on the card.
Yeah.
And that is a good day, I think, is certainly where his character's coming from.
Let's talk now. We mentioned him briefly. I'm going to put these two together. Let's talk about Josh and Sam. We could split them up. We could split them up, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I
think of them as a duo for at least 4 seasons of the show.
Sure, but I think to put them on the same level as one another, and of course everybody's free to disagree with me. I mean, as great as Rob Lowe's performance is, and as
Bradley Whitford is
like another level. That is another level of almost importance overall to the show.
Yeah. Well, and it's also
Bradley Whitford is so good on West Wing that he bought himself a permanent, like, whatever you're doing, Brad, I'm down for it. And I'm there to watch.
Yeah. Yes,
like whatever
forever.
garbage you end up in, I'm there. I'm supporting
and
you.
also someone else's, him saying someone else's words have made Bradley Whitford a political voice that people listen to.
Right. Yeah.
It's very true. And that's so true about Bradley Whitford, because I believe he's in the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Awesome.
As like a deadbeat dad, maybe.
Amazing.
And like, I still was like, hey, Bradley
He was
Whitford.
a dedebeat dad in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Josh Lyman.
That episode.
That's
Look,
true.
he's the villain in Billy Madison.
Yeah.
He's so like his character. That's another one. I like when characters, and this on West Wing, I think because of the break between the seasons, the stuff that everybody accepts is good, and then me who thinks it's all good. But I think that a character like Josh who continues to do things that I believe Josh does. I don't know. And I know part of that's the writing. I know that's not all him, but like I like, if we're just talking about the character, I don't feel like Josh makes decisions at any point that feel wildly out of left field. I feel like this is the evolution of Josh. When he leaves to, run Santos's campaign and go like find his guy that he's going to take to the White House, that's consistent for me. I mean, every step he takes, it's really, that is the arc of that character. It makes sense. It's the choices he would make. I don't know. I always like Josh as a character because his whole story feels very true to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
He also gets a lot of the greatest lines on the show.
Oh yeah, no question.
If I were pairing him with somebody, I wouldn't pair him with Sam. I'd pair him with Donna.
Yeah.
Donna.
Who is the other half of
Donna is
the engine that really makes him run.
Yeah.
And it's such a great, I mean, that is I think there's a lot of growth in that character, and the performance is really good.
In Donna or in
Donna?
Yeah.
I think it's
huge
overlooked.
growth in Donna.
Absolutely.
Yes.
She is freaking-tastic.
She serves a really cool role early on, I think, of sort of an audience surrogate for a lot of this stuff. And not in a way, really impressively, I think, not necessarily, at least me, I didn't think, but an audience surrogate that doesn't make her seem dumb, but makes her seem like, well, yeah, why don't they do that? Why don't they do this very simple thing that seems very obvious to everybody? There's some kind of government waste. I forget the exact beat, but like some sort of waste that Donna gets hung up on, or like little things about the government that she doesn't understand, but like, not like she's a dumb yokel that doesn't understand them, but like this is actually, if you look at it, is wild. Like does not actually make sense.
Like Donatella Moss would be the one that did a big campaign in real life against gerrymandering, I would think. Like, guys, this is stupid.
That feels right. Like, no matter what side you're on, this is dumb.
Yeah.
Like this is, and then eventually evolves into a real like political operative in her own right.
And I like that they're very honest about, in the beginning, she doesn't know a lot about the process. She kind of stumbled into the job. And so like the job she holds is very appropriate because she doesn't know the ropes yet. She's doing what she has the skills to do. As she grows out of that, and it's clear she could be doing a lot more, and Josh's character is not letting her. They call attention to that, and she leaves and grows beyond that. And I felt like that was all very brave, and I really liked that character arc because that felt true, that he wanted her to stay my assistant, my buddy that I'm maybe a little into, but we won't talk about that for another season, and like just stay like this because there are all kinds of shortcomings that you make up for, and I don't want to talk about that. And she says no and grows beyond it. And I think it's a very powerful moment, actually, as like a woman on the show.
One of my favorite, I think speaks to more of their relationship as people and not necessarily romantic, which I think is like more, I think their relationship as people is actually more moving to me than their romantic relationship ends up being.
Yeah, the romantic relationship feels like, oh, come on, television.
It feels like they had one more in the like the late season. People had like a couple. Oh, Sydnee likes it. They're in second season. Donna's talking about an ex that stopped for a beer on the way to pick her up from the hospital after she got into a car accident. And
Josh says, if you were in the hospital, I wouldn't stop for a beer on my way to see you. And she says, if you were in the hospital, I wouldn't stop for a red light. You don't have to read it.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's really good. It's really good. I love Donna and I love Josh.
Early Donna would feel right at home in the current administration. Early Donna is just, I work at the White House. Can you get rid of all my parking tickets? Like that's just what early Donna feels
so
like.
So savage, but true on a certain level. I speaking of evolution, a character that I think grows and is so interesting to watch his progress is Charlie Young.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dule Hill, who is basically the president's body man. Seasons 1 through 6, also providing, I think, that voice of the people. Sometimes, sort of somebody who came from the outside of politics.
That's a lot of characters on this. That's now 3 that we've mentioned that are the Winston Zeddemore.
And I think that Charlie especially is cool because I think he is able to. I think he's able to deflate people, because he just answers to the president pretty much. I mean, he rolls up to other people, but like, if the president wants him there, he will be there. I think that he's able to like say things to people and also he's extremely pleasant that other people wouldn't necessarily, say to them. And I think that he can kind of do that for the president too, but I think that there's a lot of, Leo has some of this too, but I think Dule probably has the most. I think Charlie probably has the most. It is really interesting to walk people in one-on-one conversations, walk a line between talking to a person and talking to an office. And it's something that West Wing does really, really well. Toby actually has some of the best ones, right? Where you can feel sometimes it is like, you can taste it like, oh, you are so close to the line of like crossing over, even though you're talking to one person.
And he does it. Eventually he does cross the lines.
What is the one? It's when he's talking about his dad, him wanting his dad's approval, right? Where he like completely.
He says, your father hit you, didn't he?
Oh, that's it. There's like, to my memory, it is a 37-minute long pause. It just feels, there's 2 commercial breaks.
By the way, I would love to watch that episode of a show that's just a stare down for 37 minutes.
I'm on board. Yeah, Charlie is fantastic.
Yeah, that's another.
Hal, you told them you would tell them about the pledge gifts. Do not be a liar.
I won't. I'm going to be the person who tells the truth. Thank you so much for supporting us. Max Fun Drive is the time of year that this listener-supported network and listener-supported show asks for your help, but we do not let you leave empty-handed. Here's what happens when you set up your monthly recurring contribution. In addition to feeling like an absolute champion of life, at the $5 level, you get access to bonus content.
Not just from our show. No. Bonus content from the entire Max Fun family. If you listen to other shows on Max Fun, awesome. You can get bonus content from them too. Over 100 hours. And our bonus content is a particularly special episode to the both of us because this is an episode that we did not record. We had two very special guests record this.
That's right. This is our producer, Ken Plume, and one half of the Venture Brothers creative team, Doc Hammer, who has listened to every episode of our show, going together through our back catalog and judging our judgments. Let that sink in. If you were angry about some of our decisions, you're going to feel vindicated. If you agree with some
well,
of
you
ours,
might.
Yeah. You might, you're going to, whatever happens, you're either going to feel vindicated or you might get madder. Either way, you're going to feel alive. And isn't that what's most important?
Exactly. That's the joy of our show. We either make you jump with agreement or tear your hair out with disagreement.
And speaking of jumping, what happens when you jump up to that $10 a month level? You get an enamel pin designed by Megan Lynn Cott. You like that segue?
I did love that segue.
Smooth as butter.
Every year we have an enamel pin for the Maximum Fun Drive.
Yes.
And this year is a beautiful pin designed by Megan Lynn Cott. And this was actually the first year where they said, hey, what do you guys want to do for your pin? Usually they just say, hey, look at this beautiful pin that we've created. They said, what are you guys thinking for it? And of course, we had to go with Wrench Fight.
Wrench Fight,
That's right.
everybody.
The Philadelphia classic Wrench Fight. All Santas everywhere beware.
People have asked for Wrench Fight gear. Now we have it available to you. If you were a $10 member last year and you got our world-class decision maker pin, which was from last year, beautiful pin, and you want this pin, you're going to have to upgrade. So everybody who's at the $5 level or above from last year, they're all getting the bonus content. But for the pins and stuff, you have to go up a level. I hope you're able to do that because, oh my goodness, do I love this pin so much. I love it.
It is beautiful.
So much. You're going to want this pin when you see it.
Speaking of going up a level, at the $20 a month level, you will receive a beautiful 18 by 24 inch, 550 piece Maximum Fun puzzle designed by Jeffrey Tice. And this is exclusively for Max Fun monthly members. What do you do when you're listening to a podcast? If you're not driving, I don't know, maybe, chill at home and do a puzzle whose image is the actual view out the window from the Max Fun studios, which incidentally is one of the most beautiful views in Los Angeles.
It is beautiful. Yeah. You're overlooking MacArthur Park, most of downtown LA, and at sunset, which is pictured here. Oh, it's just gorgeous. The one thing that you will not see looking out the window, I hope, is a rocket flying through the sky. In this case, it's the Max Fun rocket, so we're okay with it.
Where would I see a rocket flying through the sky?
Well, you'd see it flying through the sky at the $35 a month level on a glass mug. Yeah.
Ooh. Yes. A glass coffee mug engraved with the Max Fun rocket logo. Say it ain't so, Hal.
It is so. And if you're like me and distrust drink vessels that aren't clear because you're not sure what's in there, this glass mug is perfect for you. And maybe I have a problem I hope none of you are like me about mugs. I hope you love all mugs equally. All mugs are beautiful. This one is even more special because it's got the etched on Maximum Fun rocket logo. And if you've been a member years past, you may have a collection of all the drinking vessels that have been put out over the years as Maximum Fun Drive gifts with the rocket logo. Why let this year pass you up? Get that mug, kid.
Yeah. And the best way to do that, in fact, the only way to do that is to go to MaximumFun.org/donate. Mm-hmm. There you will see all of these gifts as well as gifts for higher levels that have some other very cool gifts. We're not going to talk about those right now. You can go online. Let's leave some mystery for Pete's sake, people. Jeez. MaximumFun.org/donate. You fill in all your credit card info, a little personal information, nothing crazy. And then you'll be, on the team. And, welcome to the team.
Yes. And the most important part when you are filling out your information on that website, MaximumFun.org/donate, is the portion where they ask you what shows you listen to. That is not just an informal poll. If you do not check the box for We Got This with Mark and Hal, then we will not benefit directly from that contribution because how will the network know who's getting that money? Otherwise it will go directly to the network, which I'm sure they appreciate, but we would love your support as well. So very important.
Yes, we would.
Check that box.
And to those of you who are already supporting the show as members of Maximum Fun, thank you. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. We couldn't do this show without you. And speaking of doing this show, should we get back to the show?
Wait, but we are going to. I just want to say one thing because I just want to make sure people know.
Okay.
That if you're at like the $20 level.
Why are we getting real quiet?
Because this is personal information.
Okay.
If you get to that $20 level, you will also get the gifts from the $10 and $5 levels.
Oh, snap.
So those gifts, they stack like a muffa. Enjoy the show.
Stack them gifts. We have two more of the big guns.
Sam Seaborn,
who, I'm not going to lie, it really bothered me that in what was supposed to be a continuous thing from the scene where Lyman gets shot, that whole assassination attempt, gunfire scene, that season ended, and in the next season we came back and it was supposed to be the same night, and Rob Lowe had different hair. Different hair, Rob Lowe. Come on.
Well, you know, the human body reacts in you can back me up on this, Sid. The human body reacts in very weird ways to stress, including spontaneous haircuts. Is that correct?
Dr. Sid, is that true?
See? That's what happens.
Your hair instantly gets shorter.
Medical doctor. Mark.
I'm pretty sure, Sid, you've now put yourself in a really terrible position where there's probably going to be a lot of episodes in the future where Hal's like, hang on.
Yeah.
Hey, Sid, what, Hal?
It's like that one Scarlett Johansson movie where she gets scared and she gets a haircut. Immediately, it goes away. I don't know if you guys haven't seen that one either.
Mulan?
Uh-huh.
Scarlett Johansson was great in that.
No.
Yeah, she was great.
Here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm going to say. He leaves the show to do Dr. Vegas. And
Is that what happened?
In a fair universe, that would be the end of his career.
Yeah.
We don't live in a fair universe where you can make the most brain dead decisions and you still get to do, Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
He got to play, he was in Californication for a little bit. Parks and Rec. He was on the Grinder. Like, how do you still get to do Parks and Rec and the Grinder after you leave West Wing to be in Dr. Vegas?
Also, I love that is the youthful indiscretion of Rob Lowe that we are taking the most umbrage with.
Right. Of all the mistakes he's made.
Leaving West Wing to do Dr. Vegas is the absolute worst.
It's really the one that bothers me the most.
Then he played another Dr. Vegas in the movie about Liberace.
Wait, what?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that
was Vegas Doctor.
Yeah,
oh, right.
He was the plastic surgeon who makes turns Matt Damon into a cat or whatever.
Sam, I think, actually has a decent arc but it is, I think, sort of truncated where you do see him, I would say, would you say become less idealistic? Is that fair, Sid?
Yeah. And I think they make it very clear when there's the whole screw up with the, negative ad that that he finds the tape and then he gives it to the opposition when Bartlett's running for re-election. Mm-hmm. Remember that whole plot line? And he falls right into the trap of the other side. Yeah. And so they leak the ad and it's all his fault. I think he at least learns the lesson that everybody's not your buddy.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, he comes in pretty
all
naive.
The Republicans on West Wing are nice.
Yeah,
not that nice.
Shout out one that I think we forgot that deserves a mention is John Goodman when he comes in as the acting president very briefly.
Oh yeah,
I just love John Goodman, and I think he does Sorkin really well.
Yeah.
Yes, he is great.
Are we ready to talk about what I think we can all unilaterally?
I'm pretty certain
is the best character on the show.
I'm pretty certain this character has to win.
CJ Craig,
winner of how many Emmys for this character?
Press secretary and the White House chief of staff in season 6 and 7. CJ Craig is, as you said, played by Allison Janney. She was doing a lot of lame Hollywood PR before she got picked up by the administration, and she does more. I think CJ carries more than anybody on the show. Mm-hmm. There's no one who is carrying more weight of her obligation to the press and also her obligation to the president. And there is nobody, I think, who is constantly holding so much on her shoulders as CJ Craig. And I don't think there's any character who gets close to holding that weight and balancing that weight and shifting that weight and, processing that weight more compellingly than CJ does.
Yeah. I think she's the heart of the show, which I don't think is a coincidence then that she knows Toby from previously. That is who, the moral center of the show is the one that pulls her in to this world. Yeah, I have nothing bad to say about CJ Craig. She is fun. She's cool. Like, she's cool with the press. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, I can't just keep making it about what's actually happening. But man, if we had a press secretary who, like, you look at CJ Craig and you go, oh, she knows all of these White House press pool's kids' names.
If we had Mark,
oh, God.
With all due respect, if we had a press secretary like CJ Craig in the current administration,
it would be awful.
We would have a very frenzied woman who would come out every morning and say, I don't know, folks, it's all doo-doo. Don't know how to help. Bye.
Well,
no questions. Thank you.
And maybe it's no coincidence that we feel so drawn to her, because it's she is the voice piece she is the one who is speaking for the White House to us as the public. And we want to believe that that is what that person would be like, that they would be that concerned with telling us the truth. But sometimes there's a truth they can't tell yet because there's a danger, there's a reason, they're trying to do the right thing, but also they want to tell the truth at all times. And that's what you want that person to be. I would say that's not necessarily what that person always is, but that's what you would want them to be.
What's the great Leo thing when he's laid up and he's looking for a replacement for chief of staff? He said that you can send over a list of names. And then Leo says one name. And CJ takes over his job after is that when he leaves for is that after the heart attack, or is that after when he leaves for the Santos campaign?
No,
he passed away. John Spencer passed away during production of the show, right?
It's confusing, right? Because he had
a heart attack in the reality of the show, and then was no longer chief of staff,
right? And
then started working as vice presidential candidate on the Santos campaign after that, and then John Spencer had an actual heart attack in real life.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Wow. But for me, I just don't think all the other characters are great. And on a different day, it's tough between her and Josh, right? Because Josh is actually is really fantastic. And on a different day, I could make a really compelling,
right?
Like, I could definitely be swayed by a Josh argument.
It feels like to me like the thing about CJ is that in a world of characters, and I include Josh in this, who are likely the characters, not the actors, who are likely in multiple situations throughout their daily lives insufferable. CJ is the person that you're like, no, you are a real human. I joked about the jackal earlier. She's got this bit that she does at parties. She has this relationship with this very complicated relationship with Timothy Busfield's character. She feels like the most human. She is also short, I think, on to a large extent, the heroics that a lot of the rest of the cast sort of go through to. They're almost Olympian, in a sense. Like the Sams and Joshes and Leos of this world seem like unattainably brilliant and perfect and always doing the right thing. And I think CJ's a lot easier. CJ seems to be the only one who's attempting to balance a personal life right
with actually working, you know what I mean? And struggling with it.
Do you think it's also fair to say that of all of these main characters, she's the one who, I don't want to say grows into her job the most, but like she comes in basically from zero, even if she worked at Hollywood PR, and then learns to become like amazing at her. Like she learns and grows as a professional as well as a person. You get to see all of it happen, again.
And you also get to see other characters attempt her job and fail miserably at it.
Right. That she has a special skill set that she realizes. It's not like she gains the skills, that she learns how to use the tools at her disposal to become great at her job and even better at it. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's very true. I think you see in her an openness. I can think of multiple times where she hears new information from experts, from the public. I always think of her in the Big Wheel of Cheese episode when she's looking at the map and she learns about the problems with the Mercator projection.
Right. I love that. Yeah. That she'd be the person that would get into that.
And she does, and she learns. Like, she's so willing to learn and grow and take in new information in ways that sometimes the other characters are a little bit closed down to because they kind of feel they're already experts in their fields. I think that's part of why she blossoms into her job so well, is because she takes on new information more than other characters.
Yeah. I also think this character is like, there are some, we've listed a lot of them. There are some epic, great actors in this show. Some world-class actors that came in and did guest runs, some world-class actors that, that just got a lot of fun stuff to do, that everybody was great on the show. But the character CJ Craig, I think, is so beautifully written that now Allison Janney is considered one of the great living American actors because of 7 seasons in one of the best written characters on television.
I'll tell you what's so wild about that, Mark, though, is I still have, though, when Allison Janney wins something or achieves something, I still have a part of me that's like, all right, you did it. Like, I still feel that connection.
Like you're still rooting for her?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I'm still rooting for her because of the time with CJ Craig, I think. Still feeling like, and I mean, there's no reason to root against her, obviously.
Sure.
Like, it still feels like a friend who is winning something or achieving something, which is wild, considering she was on a major network TV primetime show.
And is a
for 7
best
years.
actress Oscar winner.
I was going to say, she's got like Oscars.
Yeah.
Or best supporting actress. Was supporting?
Yes. And
For Itanya,
Such a great performance.
So like,
it's never been this easy.
I think it's a consensus.
I think it is too.
I
think we all sort of quietly.
Sports night. Moving on. Okay.
Sports night.
Start back at the top.
I think we all saved her for last, knowing what was going to happen.
We were, right? Yeah. I got the sense that we were skipping around
CJ so that we could talk about CJ last.
Yeah.
I feel like, Sid, you would pick Josh. I thought for sure you would go with Josh.
I named our cat CJ.
That's true. We did name the cat CJ.
Yes.
And
wait, was it your second cat? Because that could easily have been Cat Jr.
Yeah.
Our dog, we named the dog Indiana.
Oh my God.
Well, we
have another cat named Amelia, which actually used to be named Toby until we found out she wasn't a boy.
Oh my God.
We were just going to have a whole Bartlett administration menagerie.
You know what? I had a dog named Maxwell because we thought that Maxwell was a boy when we first got her. But she stayed Maxwell. And now I think it's a lovely name for a girl dog.
In retrospect, I regret not naming her Tabby Bartlett.
Tabby Bartlett.
I really wish for you to have a large collection of cats that not only are named after the staff members of the West Wing, but that you train to walk in pairs down the hallway and meow at each other.
Very quickly.
Yeah, very quickly.
Honestly, y'all, at the pace we're turning through fish, we would be the Ed and Larry's at this point.
Oh God. Well, it sounds like this one's settled. Hal, if you will.
Yeah. Can I have a music bed for this, Justin?
Sure.
Something patriotic.
I only just have this one.
People of the world, we made a decision here. We got together. Justin and Sydnee McElroy, I don't know if you know from podcasting. Good folks. Got a book out, Sawbones. Anyway, we made a decision. We dug in to those West Wing characters. 7 seasons of brilliance. Really suggest you check that out. Westwing.com, probably the website for that. What we came up with was Allison Janney's CJ Craig, Claudia Jean Craig. There's a White House press secretary for 6 seasons and becomes the chief of staff. Great character. Great evolution of character, and one of the all-time best performances captured across any media. Suggest you check that out over at westwing.com/CJ Craig. That's the best West Wing character, folks.
Can I tell you the thing that was the most jarring about that?
What's that?
That the McElroys did not experience. I experienced weird unbroken eye contact through that entire thing.
Hard pass.
It was jarring.
Stare. Get lost in my eyes. Get lost in my eyes right now. I'm going to turn you into my second.
Stop looking at me when you do that voice.
Cockroaches for sustenance.
Asked and answered.
Sydney, this is Asked and Answered. Thank you so much for coming back again.
It was lovely to have you back on the show.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
I mean, you're both always busy all the time, doing shows. You have multiple podcasts between the two of you. You have a book out. Please tell everybody, where you want them to go, follow, listen, read, throw it all out there.
You can go to McElroy.family and click on Sawbones and you'll see all the stuff there, or sawboneshow.com, or just go to iTunes and search for Sawbones. It's our medical history podcast. And then Sydnee does a brilliant show with her sisters called Still Buffering about comparing teen life now and back in the day.
Zennials versus
and now
millennials.
list on my podcast, Sydnee.
Yeah.
Sydnee, now list on my podcast, Sydnee.
Sydney.
You do too many. I can't.
Too many. We also have a book. It's on Amazon and in bookstores. It's called Sawbones. I can't remember the book subtitle. What's the book subtitle?
It's just the Sawbones.
It's not.
You wrote
different.
this book and you don't know the subtitle?
Yeah,
of this
but
book?
marketing picks like the title of it.
The Sawbones
It's not.
book. I know,
the
but
Sawbones
if you just
book,
look
The
for that-
Horrifying, Hilarious Road to Modern Medicine. It's based on our podcast.
There it
but
is.
It's a
There you
good
go.
book. I like
Yeah,
it.
it's a great podcast and a great book, and I've seen it in bookstores and sent you pictures of it because I was so excited to see the
Yeah.
book.
So
Yeah, check it out. Go to McElroy.family for all of your McElroy needs. Jeez, this is so much fun. I'm sad it's over.
I know. Well, and
sad.
Mackle March is almost over.
It is Mackle month.
Mackle
Please.
month.
Mackle month.
Not Mackle March.
This is Mackle month. Sorry you had to hear that. But there you go. This topic is settled. Thank you for bringing us the topic too.
Yeah.
You had one loaded in the chamber.
we've had some variation of this discussion probably 100 times
Yes.
since we got
There you
married,
go.
so.
Well, we finally have it now sealed in the vaults for all time.
It is official. Yeah. Sid, don't come back later and be like, no, it's Josh. This is sealed.
No, I'm happy
Good.
with this. I'm
Perfect.
good. I'm good. I'm happy.
Well, then it's sealed for all time. This is settled, but there are other topics out there. We want to hear from you. So email us at wegotThisPodcast@gmail.com. Go to our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/We Got This Podcast. Talk West Wing there. We want to hear it.
And you can also find us on Twitter at We Got This Tweets, or check out the Maximum Fun subreddit. Who knows? A flame war could be walking down a hall, taking folders from people right now. Thank you to our musicians, Jonathan Dinerstein and Mike Furman, for our score and theme song, respectively.
Thank you to producer Ken Plume, researcher Kate McManus for this James A. Michener-sized packet of research. This is amazing.
We should post this one if she's cool.
Oh yeah, we'll post it. QA engineer Jed Alba, graphic designer Eric Kelvin.
And thank you, of course, to you, our listeners, for giving us a chance to chat with the McElroys about a TV show that we all love very much, nearly as much as we love all of you. Thanks for listening. For Hal Lublin, I'm Mark Gagliardi.
For Mark Gagliardi, I'm Hal Lublin, and don't worry, everybody.
We got this.
We got this.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture.
Artist owned.
Audience supported.